And for our listeners who are unaware, we've covered the Aurora revitalization several times, most notably episode 30. Go back and listen to it. It's a great episode, just to highlight some of the things that Rich was mentioning here. So we've obviously had a lot of success with revitalization in Aurora in your time playing there. What do you think, just statewide, what do you think we have to do to start retaining and creating more housing that is affordable, right? Because there's one thing about creating jobs, but there's also the fact that rents are continuing to increase at a higher level than income. What can we do to create more affordable housing across the entire state?
Well, all right. So right now in the state of Illinois, we have the highest property taxes, some of the highest property taxes in the nation under, our current governor, 𝗤𝘵𝗶𝗵𝗵 and the Democrats. They're doing nothing to it, And matter of fact, 𝗤𝘵𝗶𝗵𝗀 tried to impose the largest tax hike in the history of our state on every resident in our state. Now, he lost that fight, but guess what? Now he's saying that our income is much higher because of this one-time influx of cash, this bailout from COVID-19 from the federal government, and he's raising our expenses. So when that money goes away, and it will, our expenses are going to be at a high level, our revenues at a low, he's going to try to raise tax again. Of course, we know in any community, when you're trying to bring residences in, you got to provide a number of things to them. You got to provide safety, which crime is spinning out of control in the state. You've got to provide growth, which is stunted here in this state. So let me tell you what we did in Aurora and what we can do exact same thing for every municipality throughout the state, which is pretty much the whole state. And all state is just a bunch of cities, just like Aurora. You have to immediately come in and you have to reduce duplication of services. We did that in Aurora. We closed down this old election commission and some other things that duplicated services, that other agents provided, saved us $1 million. We went through every single department and we did a decrement. We cut their budget 5 to 10%. And we did more with less because it was just over bloated from years past. And also the most important thing, we had to change the image and perception of our city. Same thing we have to do with our state. And because we're changing image and perception, we're able to draw in development. So the more businesses you have moving in, the more residents you have moving in, the more you can reduce property taxes. Now, we've reduced property taxes in the city of Aurora every single year I've been mayor. And when we reduce it and create that big property tax base, expand the base, it takes the burden off the few and puts it on the many. So we're able to reduce property taxes. That's the same thing we got to do with affordable housing. So here in the city of Aurora, we have a number of old buildings that sat empty and dilapidated for generations, one up to 70 years. 70 years, no lights have been turned on in this building. It's called the Terminal Building. We put high-end market rate apartments in this building. Now we high-end market rate, and we created interest and excitement around that property. Now we realize the folks we've attracted restaurants, entertainment. So we realize the folks that are working at the restaurants that provide in hospitality entertainment may not be able to afford the high market rate apartment, but we want these folks to live in Aurora as well. So we knew we had to create affordable housing, what we call workforce housing. So we did that. So we said, not only are we going to provide market rate housing, for folks that are catching the train in and out of Chicago and folks that can afford, the $2,000 to $3,000 a month in rent. We also need that market rate apartment that's $900, to $1,200, dollars a month. So we created an affordable housing, a workforce housing program in our downtown as well. And we have what we call artisan lofts, which are lofts that we specifically market to those folks that are in the arts, whether it be music, whether it be painting, whether it be visual or art, whatever it is. So we can bring those folks downtown, start painting our town fantastic. We got to do that same thing for the state of Illinois. We got to go throughout. Listen, we're the 6th largest state in the union. We're the land of Lincoln. We got to start acting like it. We got to look around this country and find businesses that are a fit in Illinois and put them in the areas that need them most. We got to look around this world and find businesses, around the entire world, and put businesses in the areas that need them most, while we're reducing property taxes and making this a state that people want to come and be a part of and not leave, in droves like they're doing now under 𝗤𝘵𝗶𝗵𝗃.